Yes, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and everybody in between, congratulations from us to you, because you have made it out of the long, lonesome wilderness, from the darkest depths of the off-season, to a week where we have footy on deck. That's right. Footy on deck here in 2025.
We made it.
We bloody made it. Big hand, you, the fans, to us, the podcasters. Thank you, the house. We are going to be talking on tonight's episode about a game of football that will be played pretty much 6 days from when you'll be listening to this, as the Cats take on the Hawks in a match sim down at Cardinia Park. True. You might be listening to this a day more. Yeah, it doesn't, like, time works in interesting ways. It won't necessarily be a week from when you're listening. My name is Jake. I'm joined for, I think this is our 5th season, 4th or 5th, by the one and only Sambo and Johnny. We are the Chaps Chat Cats. We're a part of the Hoops Crew Media Network, and we're very, very pleased to be chatting footy for you and with you in 2025. On the show tonight, we're going to be talking about what we want to see from the Cats v Hawks match sim. I understand it's a bit of a Civil War reenactment and all that sort of thing, but still might be things to glean. And we're going to talk about the things that we would like to glean from what we see. That's going to be the public part of the show. We are also going to then, before we do that, actually on the public show, I'm going to talk to you about the schedule of shows this year on the Hoops Crew. We've already done that for Patreon subscribers a few weeks ago in our virtual town hall. So I'll get you up to speed on that. Then for Patreon subscribers, we're going to duck behind the Patreon curtain. We're going to talk about the Ollie Dempsey contract stuff that's floating around. And we're going to talk about the next Cats we'd like to see extended, who are currently in the last year of their deal. So if you want to go on and listen or watch that part of the show, make sure you start your 7-day free trial over on the Hoops Crew Patreon. You get extended versions of our show. You get Patreon exclusive coverage of the VFL men's and women's Cats teams. So yeah, make sure you go on over and start the 7-day free trial. See what it's all about. There's nothing risked by starting a 7-day free trial, except probably the roughly 120 seconds it will take you to sign up for it. So make sure you get on to that.
Too long.
Chaps, I don't know about you. There's not many things in life that you want to lose 20% of. You don't want to lose, say, like 20% of your house. You don't want to lose 20% of your downstairs area. You might not want to lose 20%. Yeah, an appendage. That's a nicer way to say it. But something you do want to take 20% off is if you're buying your dearest and nearest a bunch of luscious Valentine's Day flowers, you do want to knock 20% off that. And thanks to our media network sponsor, Cyril Cook Florist, you can knock 20% off your next bunch of flowers, your next purchase from Cyril Cook Florist, because you can go on over to www.cyrilcookflorist.com.au and you go on over, you order on the website. And chaps, when you order on the website, simply enter the phrase "Go Cats" at the voucher field at checkout, and you'll knock 20% off your next purchase from Cyril Cook. So massive deal there. Go and make use of it this Valentine's Day. This is the signal you've been waiting for. And we thank Cyril Cook Florist for their sponsorship of the show all through 2025, the network, in fact, all through 2025. Chaps, let's get into it. Let me quickly get you and the listener up to speed. I'm going to do this in 60 seconds, 90 seconds maybe. This is how the shows are going to run here on the Hoops Crew in 2025. Mondays, you're going to have the tipping point. All right. This is Ben looking back at the weekend that was and making his tips for the following weekend. Tuesday, we're going to be back in your ear holes, in front of your eyeballs with our Chaps Chat Cats match recap. That'll be the public part of the show on YouTube or Spotify. Then there's an extended show for Patreon subscribers. That'll include a news wrap. It'll include an early preview of next week's opponent. You'll basically take your public, say, 45-minute show and turn it into like an hour and a half, maybe sometimes 2 hours if we really get out of hand. Wednesday, the twos. That's me recapping the performances of Geelong's VFL men's and women's teams from the weekend. I focus on the growth and development of the next crop of Cats youngsters. That is exclusively for Patreon subscribers on Wednesday. Thursday, the Paul James Show. Paul previews Geelong's upcoming fixture for the weekend, reacts to team selection news. There's currently no programmed Friday schedule, but Ben is working on something. Saturday, likewise, no scheduled programming on a Saturday. Sunday, the Paul James Show Part 2, where Paul recaps the weekend of action of footy from across the AFL, thoughts on all the games. And chaps, you can't forget Post-Game Live with Ben, highly popular show on the network. It's the show that streams live on YouTube. Viewers can jump in and chat with Ben about the game as it unfolds, and that will be the night of any of the games that Geelong play. So if it's Thursday night, Post-Game Live will be on Thursday. If it's Friday, it'll be on Friday, etc., etc. That's the schedule. That's your 2025 Hoops Crew shows launching. Chaps, I'm excited about it. I've done enough talking. We're going to get into our topic, but how are you lads feeling about getting into another season here on the Chaps Chat Cats?
Pretty damn excited. I can't wait. It's most years when the footy comes around, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm pretty keen for a bit more football, pretty keen to watch the Cats go out there. But this year, been a bit extra excited about this season. I'm not gonna lie, I've been hankering for some more football, and I feel like the Hoops Crew and us are in a pretty good position, and the audience keeps growing. So yeah, it makes me more excited each year to get into another season to keep growing that audience and keep expanding this awesome community. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. Cannot wait.
Yeah, likewise. Am I totally off base in thinking that including the M and the W, this is maybe the longest break we've had between football for a while? Because I feel
Feels
like there
like
was
Could be right,
there was
yeah, actually.
there was that season there where they had the A and the B, like the two parts to it. I could be wrong. It might be psychological, but I feel like it's been a while since we've waited this long between kicks.
does.
Also had a shorter AFLW campaign. We made it all the way to the
True.
prelim in 2023, which meant we were going until, almost December, whereas this year it ended a few weeks earlier. So, yeah, it definitely was, even from that perspective, shorter, but it's been a long off season. I'm glad. It was nice to stay for a while in the off season escape. We did a few good episodes from there, but it's nice to be back in the official in-season virtual studio. Hopefully, we're discussing plans to get more of our episodes in an in-person actual studio across the year. We'd definitely like to be able to sit around a couch with you lads, crack a beer, and talk footy in person. But chaps, let's jump into it. Let's jump into the and a big shout out. Johnny mentioned it, the growing audience. I've seen some numbers floating around that suggest that the Hoops Crew had sort of 3 times the amount of viewing and listening activity this January to what we had last January. So that's pretty massive, and a big pat on the back to everyone who stuck with the coverage over the off season. It's pretty epic. All right, let's jump in. We're going to talk about the Cats v Hawks match sim, and what we want to see from it. And chaps, you've heard me mention, and I think regular listeners of the show have probably heard me mention in preseason before, that this is a Civil War reenactment. No one's actually playing for points. We're all sort of costumed up. You guys know what sort of, Civil War reenactment like. It's fairly sort of polite sort of stuff. At least I thought it was. Colin, I did say Civil War reenactment, not Civil War, audio recordings.
Also, Colin, we've been trying so hard to clean up our language, and then Colin just drops the F bomb, the Tom Papley F bomb, right within the first nearly 10 minutes of the episode.
He thought he could get it in there without us noticing, but we always notice, Colin. We always notice.
I think you'll find that was historically accurate. I think that was actually someone from the Civil War who dropped that F bomb. So I don't think within historical accuracy,
Major Tom Papley.
we
It's
can't.
one of Tom Papley's great relatives from the US that was in the war. That's like our one F bomb in the M-rated movie.
Papley.
That was just
exactly. So we'll hope that the Civil War reenactment down at Cardinia Park doesn't sound quite like that. So, chaps, no premiership points online. We know that people will hopefully be pulling their punches a bit, but that doesn't mean there's not little bits and pieces that we can sort of glean from the match. Johnny and I talked about the match sim last year, and at the time I brought up the fact the Cats were 3-5 in preseason games in their previous 8 matches in preseason action. After last year, they're 5-5 because I think we went 2-0 in the preseason last year from memory. So, look, there's no real bearing of the results that happen on the field in preseason to what then happens in the actual season. But there's little things we're going to be looking for, and going to go first off. I'm going to go to you, Sambo. What is the first thing that you are going to be looking out for when the Hawks come down to KP next Monday?
Well, I mean, I think the first time we discussed this match way back when, early in the off season, we sort of said that we felt like the Hawks were going to be much more. They're going to feel like they've got more riding on this. They're just in general a bit of a younger team, and they've got that sort of reputation that they have. And I think they'll be probably looking at this like it's a bit more of a real thing than the Cats will be. So I understand that. But putting that aside a little bit, I would really like to see some of our young guns coming out, treating it like it's a little more serious than it is. Like I don't expect the more experienced players to. I expect your Camerons and your Dangerfields to be taking this one pretty in stride, pretty slow. But some of those younger players, Lawson Humphreys, Dempsey, Manor, those kind of guys, I would really like to see them with their tails up a little bit, just a little bit, looking to kind of come out and really prove themselves. I don't mind if they get carried away with the moment a little bit. Exactly. Fixing bayonets, that kind of thing.
I like it.
Oh, I like it. Do you, like who are if you could see maybe one or two, who are the specifics like that you're like, if I don't see it from that player, I'm going to be a bit disappointed because that was really the one I was hoping to see it from. Is there one, or is it just more a general thing of the youth movement?
Dempsey's always floating around. So he seems like the easy one to throw out a little bit, but more in general, just like that's the group that I would like to. It's kind of like I feel like there's going to be a few games going on the same field. There's going to be the games between the older, more experienced players from both sides, and then I think there's going to be hopefully what I'd like to see is some tussles amongst the future of both clubs. That the rivalry starts getting handed down now. that this can be the starting point. That it's not too friendly. We know they're essentially playing for a blow up trophy, but yeah,
Well, not even a. But this isn't really even part of the official preseason anyway. This is just a preseason game.
It's a civil war of
Really.
the Civil War.
It is.
it's not even a blow up trophy. It's just a
It's
blow
just-
up. What do you? It's a blow up. Nothing. It's a blow up bottle of
What's that?
Gatorade.
Yeah.
Spending any time on it because in the meantime, every 3 months, a person is torn to pieces by a crocodile in North Queensland.
It's nice
I
to
wonder
have
if
footy to
it's
watch, isn't
actually
it?
true.
Yeah, we
I've
should
never-
actually Google that. I haven't
Why would we
fact-checked that.
fact check Bob
Um,
about it, John?
That's true, Sam. I'm sorry I brought it up.
How dare you suggest that we should fact check?
As if
This
he
is the
could
cat
ever
up.
speak, he could utter a lie other than the absolute God's own truth.
I want to see some off-season body transformations. All right. I feel like you see one or two of these. You see the haircut stuff. You always see someone, come in and it's like, holy moly, they've gone full buzz cut, bleach blonde. I think it was James Willis last year had a extremely sort of Spike from Buffy look going on. But I'm talking about the bods because there's definitely some players in our side, particularly the younger guys who have maybe spent a bit more time at VFL level, who probably need to just put on a little bit of extra muscle.
He needs some milk.
To add a bit of bulk, as it were. Some players that I'm sort of looking at in that sort of vein would be your Connor O'Sullivans. I feel like that's one thing that probably kept him out of more AFL games last year. I would look at Jai Clark. I would look at Ted Closey. They're probably the three that really stick out to me as guys that you go, it's probably a big stumbling block for them at the moment. Like Connor O'Sullivan, he's got the reach, he's got, the skills and the sort of the game awareness, I think, where he could be handy even now if he stepped up into AFL level. But you saw in the finals of the VFL last year where I think was it Southport, or I'm trying to think who we played. Maybe it was Werribee even that we played in the finals, where they really tried to target and isolate him in one-on-one matchups against their forwards. And I just feel like it's going to be, you got to add a little bit of muscle mass so you're not just pushed off the footy. But the same goes for those sort of, up-and-coming engine room players. Jai Clark and Ted Closey, they both need to get bigger. We've talked for a long time about Mitch Nevitt needing that, but Mitch Nevitt can also, if needed, go and play on a wing where it's not quite as physical, I suppose. Clark and Closey, definitely. I want to see some biceps bulging. I want to see some uniforms being filled out, perhaps a little more. And I know some of this is just time, but some of it's time in the gym too. So that's I'm just hoping when those photos start rolling out, where we see them all run out on the ground, you go, someone made some gains. Johnny, what do you want to see?
What I want to
Someone
see.
got swole.
People are entitled to their sexual proclivities.
I want to see. Yes, that is true. I'm going to stick with a fairly common narrative that we've gone with during the off season. That is Shannon Neal. I want to see Shannon Neal crash some packs in the sim. Just show that he's not afraid to either hurt himself or hurt some other players in the sim. Just get in there, crash the packs, make the Hawks and other teams feel a bit of fear when he's charging in for a mark.
Hopefully that's the screams of the other players,
Yeah, exactly.
not Neil having done an ACL or two.
Because I feel like I feel like there was opportunities throughout the year last year for him to do that, and he just seemed to shy away from it a little bit. So I just wanted to see him crash a couple of packs, just even if it's just one, just show that he's willing to put his body in the way to bring down to the small forwards or take a really big mark in the pack. Just get some physicality into his game because he's strong enough, he's big enough to do that.
It makes me. Yeah, 100%. It makes me think a bit about the Ollie Dempsey mark. Remember the one against Carlton where he soared on the shoulders of about 4 or 5 players? It inspired sort of a Sistine Chapel roof rendering from Sambo that he drew and we put up on the socials. Like, I think that was like, it's not a big, like it wasn't a show of like, oh, it's big and tough. It was like just a demonstration of like, oh, everything he's been doing at VFL level, he can actually do against AFL players, even if it's only preseason. So yeah, I agree. You only need to see that one thing from Shannon Neal where it's like, oh, that was a big, the big pack mark or whatever that makes you go, we're playing footy. There's a bit of adrenaline running in both the players and the fans, and you're excited to see him go full demolition derby mode. Come around 0. I like that one, Johnny. We'll come back to you here, Sambo. What's the other thing that you really want to see out of this match, Sim?
Well, my second one's similar, but more focused in and not so youth based. He's certainly not an old man. But it's certainly about coming out and treating this as maybe a little more than a glorified training match. And that is our man Bailey Smith. I think he's likely to come out pretty hard, and I would like to see that. If he doesn't, I think maybe it even shows a level of confidence and sort of maturity in its of itself. But I do think that he'll come out and hit this game pretty hard. He did put up that tweet back last year when he was, in his recovery and talking about trying to, how hard it had been watching from the sidelines, basically being out of footy. And that's my understanding anyway. It was a different form of English to the one I learned. I will admit the language has gone through a etymological progression. I think since I was learning the Queen's English, but from what I could from young person lingo, he did it did seem to be that he was pretty keen to get back. This is opportunity. I expect him to to show up and prove that the time on the sidelines did in fact make him hungry, as he said.
Nice. I was going to pick a Bailey Smith
I've been trying to
one, but I thought I'll leave that to Sam. Bailey Smith, Sam's man this year, and I was like, I'll leave the Bailey Smith topic part to Samuel. Don't want to tread on anyone's toes. Unlike Shannon Neal, he should be treading on everyone's toes, especially the scum.
I was just very quickly trying to find the tweet or the Instagram so I could actually read out the exact young people runes that Sam was struggling to decipher on Bailey Smith's Instagram. Is this the year that we officially turn old as a podcast? Do you think?
I think we started old.
Yeah.
And just got older.
Yeah.
That's how it works.
Yeah, I hate to tell you this. We weren't all even AFL playing age when we started the podcast.
What do you mean? I thought we had a chance.
It's still
when we started the podcast.
Time. It's still time. Even now,
still got opportunity.
Put on those boots.
Yep. Absolutely.
I think maybe
for long scouts at the Benalla Social Soccer looking for some geriatric recruits.
I think we fit the age profile.
Run.
I think just 1 year for shits and gigs, we should try and enter one of us in the mid-season draft. Is that even possible? Do you just have to put your hand up and say, "Hey, pick me," or do you have to Like, is
I
there some sort of
nominate Ben.
qualification? Yes, Ben.
It
Ben,
was
you need to
Scott Curry.
grow the Movember moustache back and enter. And actually, let's go full Ackermanis. Ben goes the
Oh,
bleach
yeah.
blonde up
Oh,
top.
yes.
And
No,
the
he
mustache.
start growing the hair now and go the full Geelong Cats headband and long
Oh,
blonde.
with the headband.
If
Oh,
he
yeah,
wants to be in with a
perfect.
chance,
Yeah, yeah.
Just hook it to my veins!
Definitely.
every
Yeah,
time
definitely.
Colin plays that sound drop for me, it comes in with at the noise of hook. So it sounds to me like he's saying, "Do something else to his veins." I've got to be honest. It sounds like there's some censorship going on.
I wasn't sure if it was a sound drop or just Colin like engaging in activities that we told him to stop engaging in over the off season.
We're not,
Really
do we have
trying
to
to get
bring
it
back
right
the
out.
Wheel of Pain?
Maybe we do. Maybe we do.
Mm.
Maybe we just need to send Colin off into the Civil War reenactment. We've got a message for you to take to the other side. Where have we gone? Sambo's been twice. Johnny, you give us
Yes.
your next one. What's your
I wanna
second thing that
see-
you'd like to see?
My second thing I want to see is I want to see Oisin Mullen use his speed and agility to break off the half back and start pushing a ball inside 50 or making attacks with his speed. I think we started to see that last year in the few games he played. We saw that real speed and dash and his ability to weave in and out of traffic. I want to see that a bit more this game. It's a match sim. There's not a lot of writing on it, so this is a perfect opportunity to just go out there, use your speed, use your skill, have a bit of fun, and just go a bit nuts. If it doesn't work, doesn't matter. I just want to see him break those lines with his speed because he's got it. Like we saw it a couple of times, and it was pretty impressive. It blew me away a couple of times. I was like, "Whoa, that's fast."
100%. I think he's a player too that I'd love to see him. Sorry, Johnny's just talking about breaking lines and speed, and I've got Colin clawing at my ankles. Trying to anyway. I think
I'm pretty sure we fed him. Did we feed him? Whose turn was to feed him?
You didn't feed him the good stuff.
No.
He needs some milk.
No, you
Milk's
don't,
too rich
Colin.
for Colin.
No, I think it'd be nice to see from Oisin, like you said, showing that burst and acceleration, the line breaking speed that you talked about, but also like combining that with a really effective kick at the end. That would be like massive, wouldn't it? To see him dash off through half back and then just deliver a pinpoint pass to a teammate. Because I feel like that's the marriage we kind of need to see of like the athletic ability plus the footy skills. I feel like he's continuing to work hard at developing that, but I guess it is a ticking clock too, isn't it? Like you don't have forever and ever to make the jump. But no, I like it, Johnny. I'll round us out if just Cam Guthrie gets through healthy. Like talking about like Civil War reenactments. This was what it sounded like anytime Cam Guthrie tried to get on the field last year. Maybe even the last 2 years. He runs out there, has the first possession of the match in whatever that year that was. And the hamstring goes.
The only thing that was inaccurate about the sound drop was how long it took before you heard the scream.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like I just want to see Cam Guthrie get through healthy. I just want to see and play some game time. It would be bloody awesome to see him get, say, like, I don't know, 15, 20 touches. 15 to 20 touches. And just look maybe starting to get back to what we used to love about. I mean, what inspired John's romantic fan fiction about Cam Guthrie back in the day. I mean, that was, speaking of Valentine's Day coming up, that was
very aroused.
quite the quite the thing. Dan. If you want to go listen to the fan fiction, I don't know how many episodes back you have to go. A lot.
300.
Yeah, 275 episodes ago, there was a good fan fiction written
There
about
was.
John and Cam Guthrie by John.
Sorry.
Never
Um,
published as
Amazing.
being too spicy.
Shh. Don't mention it that I wrote it. You're spoiling the magic.
that's all for the public part of the show. We're done. That's half an hour. That's the free half hour.
That's all you get.
That's your blooming lot.
If you want more,
If you want,
you know where to go.
slide the credit card over the table and come behind the curtain
Nice and easy.
over to Patreon.
No one needs to get hurt.
That's right. It's far more sinister than I. It's right.
Absolutely. When Shannon Neal just comes in on the side and knuckle dusters them in the face.
There's no umpires for a match, anyway.
No, there isn't.
That's it. That's the end of the show. We're out of here. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks so much for listening. As we said, keep an eye on the channel because you're gonna see more and more videos and podcasts start popping up in your feed as the season approaches, as we laid out in the first 8.5 minutes of this podcast. And we will be back next Tuesday night with a full recap. Cats v Hawks. If we can swing it, maybe we'll all be together in person recording. We'll see how we go. It'd definitely be nice to get together and watch it anyway. But that's your blooming lot. As Sambo said, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Hit the subscribe, hit the follow, chuck us a 5-star rating. Give the Patreon a whirl. Go Cats!
Go Cats.
Go Cats.